Now, the rest of the story.
All right, welcome back. The combine has still puked its guts. We just got done unloading a bunch more parts that have to go onto this machine. We are like dangerously close to starting to put it back together. Dirt and dust and crap. Dad just shut off the Bobcat from loading this out of the truck. We actually had 2 trucks loaded with stuff. This was in the back of mine. That was in the back of my dad's. We literally just went and picked that up this morning. Our feeder house chain, I've already said in the previous video, it was showing signs of wear and tear, and Dad has been in the seat of our 6620 back when we had that. When the feeder house chain had actually broken and it sent it back into the RAS bars, and probably a large reason other than the fact that the chain is showing pretty significant signs of wear and tear as to why we were going through and changing this one, because no one really wants to experience that firsthand again. But what we did down here, how well you guys can see this, we had a busted piece. This is off the Contour Master, and we had this back piece replaced, which actually it is a little bit heavier than the piece that was on it. We already made sure everything lined up as far as the new pin that has to go through it. Also the threaded piece, which I don't know if you guys can see that back in there, that actually holds that pin in place. So at least this part is back together so we can put it back on. Dad is already got this bearing, housing piece, sensors going back on right now. We did not start putting this back together yet. We actually took a little bit of a side trip. We ended up cleaning out the corn harvester the last 2 days. Largely 2 days ago, and then yesterday we just finished up, which really wasn't all that terrible, but this has to be put back on here before too terrible long. I'm starting to notice a little bit of correlation with the prices of machines and the amount of work that has actually been put into them. We came from the dealership this morning. There's a 9060 series on the lot. It had some hours on it, not nearly as much as ours, but all in all, it looked like a very nice machine. But it was there to get serviced. It was a store machine. It wasn't a customer. But they were going through and they were going to service it and then tack on what work it had put into it onto the list price. You can understand why, especially after doing a job like this, why those machines really start to add up in price. It was currently listed at right around $70,000, and looking at everything that combine needed itself, then you kind of relate that to everything we've done to this so far with slightly more hours. I think this has about 800 to 1,000 more hours than that machine does, and it's probably going to be put right back up to a $90,000 to $100,000 machine after they get all the parts put on and all the work into it that it needs. Just the reality of it. I mean, a person could have bought it, done all the work themselves and saved themselves a bunch of labor, but to really know where you'd end up final on that machine, if you would have just bought it and done it yourself and just put the parts into it, it still would have added up at least, I'd say, $20,000 worth of parts. This is our fix to the Contour Master. We've had the dealership look at it. Everybody has kind of guessed as to why the Contour Master, which is that piece you guys just saw out there, it allows it to flex, which is in turn why it ended up breaking out. But we've checked everything over as to why we cannot get it to shut off and quit knocking back and forth whenever we would go and raise and lower the head. I mean, it was great, it was fine. It's what we wanted when we were doing soybeans, but when we were doing corn, it would still like to rock back and forth even when you tried to put the headlock in, which is in turn, with the headlock in, it was still knocking that back and forth, and it ended up breaking everything out. So our cure is, largely because we've tried how many different ways in the past to get it to stop. This is a result of negotiations breaking down, and our cure is we're going to go through and we put shutoff valves, or just ball valves, in both the hoses, in the power or the extending and retract hoses that go to the contour master cylinder. It can't swing back and forth if we cut the power off to it altogether, and that's exactly what we're going to do, and that'll fix it relatively quick and very efficient as far as we're concerned. We have one hose already done, the other hose is yet to be done, but that should be pretty well set and ready to go. And yeah, starting to get hot out. I know some guys are already, well, I'll say it, our northern Canadian friends are facing frost. We haven't heard the dreaded F word just yet, but even for up in Canada, that sounds really early as far as having to worry about everything freezing up. So this is the cylinder that we've been working on, that we're talking about. The plate, you guys want to see some of the damage from last year. This is the result of it. We have a new plate. Yeah, there's a lot of weight and a lot of torque on that you got to worry about. So as far as this thing getting put back together and being done, we probably got at least a week or two left on it. But that's why we started it when we did, so we had time to work on it steadily rather than last minute panic 2 weeks before we wanted to be serious about going and starting harvest. So, all right, gotta start working away on this. So with that, thanks for tuning in, thanks for checking in as far as the combine job. Between the harvester being done, Ryan just got done working on that, so that is actually ready to, once we get the parts in, that's ready to go back together. And then the combine. So those three big jobs get done, and we got to make third, fourth-ish crop. I think we want to, you could call it fourth crop traditionally. I mean, we're letting third crop go as long as possible. The first week of September, and then get hay done, and then it's pretty much focusing on harvest from then on out. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you guys later.